Hey, here he comes from the south. He's coming toward us now. Well, we're observing what appears to be a beam coming down to the ground. This is unreal.
December 1980, the height of the Cold War, one of the coldest nights of the year in the English countryside. At the twin bases of RAF Bentwaters and Woodbridge, armed American servicemen patrolled the perimeter of one of NATO's most sensitive nuclear installations in Europe. But on this freezing morning, something impossible is about to happen. Something that will challenge everything we think we know about the skies that protect us.
Okay, we're looking at the thing. We're probably about 200 to 300 yards away. It looks like an eye winking at you. It's still moving from side to side. And when you put the star scope on it, it sort of has a hollow center, a dark center. It's like the pupil of an eye looking at you and winking. And the flash is so bright to the star scope that it almost burns your eye.
This is the story of the Rendlesham Forest incident, Britain's Roswell. To understand the gravity of what happened at Rendlesham, we first need to understand where it happened. RAF Bentwaters and RAF Woodbridge weren't ordinary air bases. They were NATO spearheads, operated by the United States Air Force. The 81st Tactical Fighter Wing was based here, equipped with the fearsome A-10 Warthogs, aircraft designed for a single mission, to destroy Soviet tanks if Western Europe were invaded. But there was something more, something that remained officially denied for decades. For years, the British government maintained a policy of neither confirm nor deny regarding nuclear weapons on English soil. But later documents revealed the truth. Bentwaters and Woodbridge housed a weapons storage area, the WSA, containing NATO tactical nuclear warheads. Security was paranoid. Armed security police constantly patrolled, trained to respond to Soviet Spetsnaz saboteurs or even the IRA. Here, every strange light, every suspicious sound was treated as a potential threat. Between these two military bases lay a dense conifer plantation, Rendlesham Forest. At night, it was a dark, impenetrable, silent place. That's where it all began. Early morning of December 26, 1980, Boxing Day. It's 3 a.m. when patrol officers at the east gate of RAF Woodbridge observe something unusual. Lights descending into the forest, bright, colorful, moving. The first hypothesis is obvious. Downed aircraft. Civilian or military, something came down there. The Security Control Center authorizes an immediate investigation patrol. 3 men receive the order: investigate. Sergeant Jim Peniston, veteran and experienced; Airman First Class John Burroughs, young but reliable; and Airman Ed Cabansag, who will serve as communications relay. As they advance through the freezing forest, something strange begins to happen. The radios start to fail. Increasing interference. The atmosphere becomes oppressive. Cabansag receives orders to stay behind. Peniston and Burroughs push forward. And then they see it. In a clearing ahead, something that defies all logic. A metallic object, triangular, resting on 3 legs like a tripod. Approximately 3 meters at the base, 2 meters in height. The surface is dark but reflects light strangely, smooth like polished glass. And it's warm. Even in the intense cold of the English morning, the object radiates heat. What Peniston does next goes against all military protocols. He approaches, inspects the object, and touches the fuselage. That's when he sees them. Symbols. Engraved on the metallic surface. They're not letters, they're not numbers, they're hieroglyphs, unknown, each measuring about 7 centimeters in height. When Peniston runs his hand over them, he feels something, a discharge, a transfer of information that he can't consciously process. Visions, numbers, zeros and ones flashing in his mind. 45 minutes after the encounter, the object moves, but not like any known aircraft. No engine sounds, no propulsion jets. It simply rises, silently, maneuvering with impossible precision between the trees, something that would destroy any helicopter or fixed-wing aircraft. And then it shoots into the sky, breakneck speed, disappearing in seconds. Peniston and Burroughs stand there, stunned, in the deafening silence that remains. In nearby farmyards, farm animals go into absolute panic.
On 148, we're hearing very strange sounds out of the farmers' barnyard animals. It's very, very active, making an awful lot of noise.
With daylight comes verification. Teams return to the site, skeptical but curious, and they find physical evidence. 3 depressions in the ground, forming a perfect equilateral triangle, each 1.5 inches deep and 7 inches in diameter, exactly where Peniston described the object's legs. Burn marks on adjacent trees, broken branches at a specific height suggesting the descent of something heavy and hot. Suffolk police are called. Their report is anticlimactic. The ground marks? Probably old rabbit burrows. The lights in the forest? The Orford Ness Lighthouse miles away. Case closed. But for the military at the base, nothing was closed. Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, deputy base commander, hears the reports and assumes his men saw a natural phenomenon, or they were playing a prank. Halt is an experienced, pragmatic officer. He's determined to debunk this nonsense at the next opportunity. That opportunity would come 2 days later, and it would transform the skeptical Halt into one of the main advocates of the Rendlesham case. Night of December 27th to 28th. A formal
officers' dinner is underway when Lieutenant Bruce England enters the room, visibly shaken. "Sir, it's back." Halt sees his chance. He's going out there. He's going to end this theater once and for all. But Halt doesn't go unarmed. He takes weapons, yes, but also scientific tools, Geiger counters to measure radiation, mobile floodlights, and crucially, his personal microcassette recorder. This small device will capture one of the most extraordinary audio recordings in UFO history, the Halt tape. What makes the Halt tape unique is that it's not a later account. It's not memory contaminated by years. It's real time. It's the voice of a senior USAF officer, skeptical and trained, reacting to the impossible as it happens. Right from the start,
Security control. We're still getting clear.
the radiation safety officer begins reporting anomalous readings. They're not lethal, they're low, but they're not random. The radiation readings are concentrated exactly at the landing marks, and on a specific side of the trees, the side facing where the object would have landed. Skeptics will argue that 0.05 to 0.07 milliroentgens are normal background levels, but the specific location of these readings convinces Halt's team. Something radiated energy at that exact spot. And then comes the moment that changes everything. Halt describes seeing something that looks like a blinking eye, moving erratically through the forest, coming toward the team. This moment destroys the lighthouse theory. A lighthouse rotates with fixed periodicity, predictable. Halt is describing something that moves erratically, that stops, that advances toward the team. Something that navigates between the trees as if under intelligent control. Halt confirms in his recording that there's no doubt. This is strange, unexplainable. What happens next is the most disturbing aspect for national security. The object in the sky divides into 5 white lights, then reconfigures. Halt observes objects resembling stars moving with accelerations that defy known physics. And then, one of them acts. Halt reports seeing an object to the south firing beams of light to the ground. A beam of light, laser-like, descends from the sky. It penetrates directly into the base's weapons storage area, into the nuclear bunker. Think about what this means. an unknown technology, demonstrating the ability to violate NATO nuclear weapon security with impunity, possibly scanning or affecting the warheads. During the Cold War, at the height of nuclear tension, and the tape ends abruptly.
Here he comes from the south. He's coming toward us now. Now we're observing what appears to be a beam coming down to the ground. This is unreal. 330 or 0330, and the objects are still in the sky, although the one to the south looks like it's losing a little bit of altitude. We're turning around and heading back toward the base. The object to the south is still beaming down lights to the ground. 0400 hours, one object still hovering over Woodbridge Base at about 5 to 10 degrees off the horizon, still moving erratic and similar lights and beaming down this area.
Two weeks later, on January 13, 1981, Lieutenant Colonel Halt does something extraordinary. He officially documents the incident in a memorandum to the British Ministry of Defense. Title: Unexplained Lights. This is not a third-hand account. It's not conspiracy theory. It's the official admission by a senior United States Air Force officer that an unidentified flying object physically interacted with the environment at a NATO nuclear installation. The memorandum confirms metallic nature, triangular shape, pulsating red and blue lights, high-speed departure, radiation detected. Jim Peniston's notebook is controversial. Critics point out inconsistencies, civilian times instead of military, sketches that evolved over the years. But there's something on the pages that remains constant. The symbols, the hieroglyphs he claims to have seen on the fuselage. Triangles, circles, lines, patterns that don't correspond to any known human language. In 2010, Peniston reveals something even more extraordinary. Pages and pages of binary code, zeros and ones that he claims to have received telepathically when touching the craft 3 decades earlier. When decoded, the code produces messages in English: exploration of humanity, continuous for planetary advance, origin year 8100, and coordinates pointing to specific locations on the planet: the pyramids of Giza, the Nazca lines, the mythical island of High Brazil off the coast of Ireland. Here, skeptics have a strong point. The code uses ASCII, a human computing standard from the 1960s. Why would an alien intelligence or time traveler use our encoding system? It's a valid question, one that has no satisfactory answer. Skeptics have offered explanations. The main one, the Orford Ness Lighthouse. The lighthouse was a few miles away. It's being rotated every 5 seconds. On the Halt tape, there are intervals that seem to coincide with this rhythm. But Halt argues he saw the lighthouse and the UFO simultaneously. The object moved 30 degrees on the horizon, approached, changed shape. A fixed lighthouse doesn't do that. And the lighthouse doesn't explain the triangular craft landed on the first night. It doesn't explain the ground marks. It doesn't explain the localized radiation. In 2018, a provocative theory emerged. Could
have been an SAS prank? The claim was that, after being mistreated by American security during an exercise, the SAS would have used helium balloons, remote lights, and kites to create the illusion. Investigator Dr. David Clark concluded that the letter detailing the prank was probably a hoax, possibly sent on April 1st as a joke. The logistics of simulating a solid craft, fooling experienced officers, and risking an international incident at a nuclear base make this theory implausible. Astronomers confirmed that an exceptionally bright meteor was visible over southern England in the early morning of December 26th. This could explain the initial descending lights. It may have been the trigger, but it doesn't explain the landed craft. It doesn't explain the 45-minute interaction, and it certainly doesn't explain the events of the second night, 2 days later. There's an aspect of this case that transcends debates about lighthouses or meteors, a tangible, documented, undeniable aspect: the price paid by the witnesses. John Burroughs,
the young airman who was meters from the craft that first night, began suffering health deterioration years after the incident. In his early 40s, young for such conditions, he developed severe heart problems, mitral valve failure, a condition that required experimental surgery. No family history, no conventional medical explanation. When Burroughs tried to obtain treatment through the Veterans Association, he discovered something shocking. His medical records from his USAF days were classified, inaccessible, even to him. This suggested one thing: the government knew his condition was linked to his service, linked to the incident. With the help of attorney Pat Frasconia and Senator John McCain, Burroughs sued the VA. To win the case, the defense used a secret document from the British Ministry of Defense, Project Condign. This intelligence study on unidentified aerial phenomena admits something extraordinary: that radiation from unidentified aerial phenomena exists and can cause physiological damage. In 2015, the Veterans Association agreed to pay full disability compensation to John Burroughs. Read that again. The United States government, through the Veterans Association, legally admitted that John Burroughs was injured by an unexplained aerial phenomenon while in military service. Not allegedly injured, not possibly injured, injured, officially compensated. This is the most concrete validation of the physical reality of the Rendlesham incident. More than any photo, more than any video, it's legal and medical government recognition. So what really happened in Rendlesham Forest in December 1980? The lighthouse explanation may satisfy distant observers. The meteor theory may explain the beginning, but neither withstands the accumulated weight of evidence. The geometric ground marks, the localized radiation in the trees, the real-time audio of a senior officer describing intelligent behavior, Burroughs's biological injuries recognized by the government. The Rendlesham Forest incident was not a mere sighting of lights in the sky. It was a prolonged, multisensory, physical interaction between unknown technology and highly trained military personnel at one of NATO's most sensitive nuclear installations. The origin? Extraterrestrial, as the draft and binary code suggest, or highly advanced terrestrial technology we still don't understand. We don't know. What we do know is this: NATO airspace sovereignty was violated. Nuclear weapons were exposed to unknown technology, and the consequences for those who witnessed these events lasted a lifetime. The Halt tape continues to echo through the decades, a ghostly testimony of that night when Cold War certainty was momentarily broken by the impossible. As Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt wrote in his memorandum to the Ministry of Defense on January 13, 1981, unexplained lights, and to this day, they remain unexplained.